I'm not gonna read
I appreciate
that.
it. I had to get something done, otherwise I would've stuck around with Doug there to take notes.
Yeah, you should appreciate that.
Good evening all, please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. Roll call, John Hotchkiss here,
Joe Bailey here.
and John Clary excused. Okay, first item. The minutes from Board of Selectmen meeting dated March 26th.
Make a motion that the March 26th meeting of 2018 be accepted as written.
I'll second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Next is an intent to cut. Presumably lumber. Cutting telephone cable or anything. All right, where is it?
It is map 19, lot 10, Kings Highway. Acreage of the lot is 536, the acreage of the cut is 50 acres.
Is this where they cut before?
Is it an extension, maybe, for that same people?
Might be.
Is that Mount Jesse? Is that much land?
What is it?
It just says, it just, sorry, map 19, lot 10. It doesn't say, it's a Joanna Mockler, Lincoln, Mass.
That's not the same people?
I don't think so, we don't remember that name, but.
It's right next to Di Giovanni.
Okay.
Okay. Looks like they're taking 30, damage usually million, 30,000 board feet, white pine, 30,000 board feet of hemlock, 30,000 board feet of oak, and what else? So, I guess I'm signing
Thank you.
assessing facility.
Don't need
Guess that's
not
all.
big enough, small enough, short enough. I could
Anything
put a
left?
high chair.
Anything left?
No, not really.
So Joe, question,
242. Okay.
it says, please do
Thank
not
you.
lock this door. Why don't you just disable the lock cell?
Because if somebody breaks in, that's how she'll lock it.
Ah,
All right, next. Veterans tax credit applications.
Okay, so here's a couple. The 1,
Good evening.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, God.
Oh, and one of them is an elderly, what did she say? Blind exemption, one of those is a blind exemption.
Okay. So the green is she's denying, and the white one she's approving, so.
Approved by Avatar. Also encloses one, oh, here's a little note, sorry. She left your note.
Okay, this is from our assessing clerk, Gwen English. Attached, Your Honor, will find 2 veterans tax credit applications and 1 blind exemption application, reviewed and approved by Avatar. Needs our signature. Also enclosed 1 veterans tax credit application denied because the property owner is town of Milton resident. Another one denied because property is vacant land, reviewed and denied by Avatar. As I understand tax credits, you can get it only for your residence in the town in which you reside. That sound right to you? Only in the town in which you reside.
Yes.
And if you happen to have more than 1 property in the town in which you reside, you only get it for 1. I don't have any problem giving out the names.
Huh?
For First one is Nancy Marcourt, Pinkham Road. She was in 68 to 73, Vietnam. Next one. Blind exemption. Edward and Deborah Rappa, Silver Street. Next one. Michael Getchus, Woodland Road. 81 to 85. And then good. And veterans for whom? Oh, did not qualify, reviewed by advertised vacant one. And the last one resides in Milton. This does not work for here. Who's he? Doesn't say. All right. Do that and that. Next is a tax agreement.
Here's the agreement that you came up with last week that needs your signatures before I call her. I wanna make sure it's okay with you.
This was discussed last week, and she's looking for assistance. She is going to try to get some paperwork together and see us next week, April 9th, before the cutoff date of April 19th of this month. Okay, so we'll see if she comes back with the necessary form. This is a summation of what we talked last week. Okay. All right. Good.
So I'll call her, she'll come in and sign that.
Okay. She works during the day, so it might be next Monday when she comes in, which is fine, you can give her the letter then. She was here and talked about it last week. Next, Old Town Hall chair cart.
This is interesting, here you go. So I sent Eric over to do some measuring. So I think this is the one that you wanted. This is the one that we looked at before. This is that part to hold the chairs, because the big one really won't fit in the little cubby, right, that you have now? Okay, so that's the one we looked at. I made notes on the front. Where does it say?
53 by 7.
Okay, so that's the hole. But the chairs, I don't think will fit in that car. The chairs are 38 inches tall and 18 inches wide. I think that's only 17 inches wide, so they're gonna stick out over the edges.
No good.
So then I looked up different ones. So then I have this one. It's kind of similar to that one, except it's a little smaller, but it doesn't hold as many chairs.
But it's wider.
It's 18 inches wide, 18 and a half inches wide,
Are you,
and 39 and a half inches long.
were you basing it on the chairs that are over there?
He measured one of the folding chairs.
We were thinking about redoing, getting rid of those and putting in different ones.
Right, but how wide is it? Not that, but the opening.
53 by 70.
3 of these are 18. Even if you call it 20, 2 20s is 40, so there's enough room. I'd get the wider one, I get the 18-inch one.
Well, I have another one.
Oh.
So this one holds 15 chairs. This one can hold 14 chairs, but I think you can get 4 of these into that one cubby. It only stick out a little bit because this one's only 35.7 inches long.
Okay.
So you'd only stick out
A little bit.
a little bit over an inch and a half.
How much in one of them? How many chairs in one?
14 on this one.
Times 4 is 56 chairs. But on the other one, there's more than 56.
This one only holds 15 chairs. So it's really not, it's only one chair. So it just depends on, and my question is, how do they not fall out of that? How do they stand in there without
Usually
tipping
they-
over?
Angle iron that runs along is wide enough for the legs to sit on,
Oh,
to stand on.
Yeah, the wheels will be on the inside of the legs of the chair, so it doesn't impede it from moving around. Okay.
But that one only holds how many?
15 and 14, so there's only one chair difference between them. But you can fit only 2 of those in there,
The 15, when you said
because
4
that
of
one's
these.
longer. But I think if you do the 4 of those, you'd still fit it.
What's the seating capacity and how many chairs do you need to store?
I'll bet that place would hold close to 100. So neither one of them's gonna work. Okay. We have a rack now, it's probably out in the storage shed.
Mm-hmm.
How much does that hold? A lot, it's a big long one.
Yeah, that holds almost all of our chairs, right?
Yeah.
It's got about 4 pegs, 8 pegs on one side.
Yeah.
Probably 5 or 6
It
chairs
takes,
on
it
each
takes
one.
6 chairs deep.
Oh, they held upside down?
So
Yeah.
that's like 48 to 50 on one side. So almost 100 on that one rack.
So what you need
That
is,
one's long? Or is it more square?
No, it's just not easy to move around.
Just low.
what you need is
It's
a rack
big.
that holds upper and lower.
That's what
Yeah,
this
Those
one
all
is.
hold
That's what we have.
That's what you have out there, but these don't.
no, these are all,
But they wanted to make it easier to move like through the old town hall to put them out. Okay,
sure,
that's just,
well,
They
I'd like to
never-
go take
they
a
never
look at
moved
the
that
other
rack.
rack before you, so I could, there's no sense buying it, there's not gonna hold enough
They
chairs.
never moved that rack before, they always left the rack there and carried the chairs back and forth, so why are you worried about moving the rack?
The biggest thing, that old rack has hard wheels on it. We hit
Mhm.
that floor, we just don't wanna scrape nothing apart, that's all.
That's what I'm saying, you didn't move it before.
But other people were. Some people were, some people weren't. It's like the tables, and people can't lift and flip them to secure the legs, they scrape them. And they wanna move them.
Can you buy new wheels for the cart that you have?
Yeah, I would think so.
Probably so.
And the way that cubby hole is designed, we can stand tables up on the short edge against the back wall of that cubby hole. If you do that, you have to be able to move the chairs out. Okay? So I think I'd like to look at the other one that's there first, before we get the other ones. Speaking of which, I'm interested in opinions.
Haven't helped us.
What do we do with those wooden chairs? Anybody know who owns them? At the town meeting, we had a number of wooden chairs out. I think they're dangerous to sit in. They've gotta be
I know some
50 years old.
people sell those at yard sale, at flea market things for bucks.
Don't the church have them?
What's that?
Doesn't the church have them?
I don't know. But do we wanna keep those? I don't think they're good to sit on.
They shake.
Yeah, they do.
I like them.
But I don't know whether they are ours or
They're not
this
as cold
old
to sit
home.
on as those metal ones.
This is true.
So I said they might belong to the church. Originally.
Oh, possibly.
My gut feeling is all that stuff has been donated over the years from whomever, from wherever, you know, and the town's always taken it. So it's a town-owned property. I think it's donation type stuff like that. I don't think anybody would mind if we replace it with something newer to, you know, it's just.
chairs are expensive. For 4, it's like $65 for 4 folding chairs, it's crazy.
I'm not opposed to giving the wooden ones away. I'm leery about selling them, because then when they break and someone's sitting on them, we're gonna get blamed for that. So, I hope at some point someone says, oh, those are my chairs, at which point I hope you say,
Take them back.
take them!
You should ask tomorrow night at your little,
I'm going to.
because
Yeah.
you're hoping that
Yeah.
the groups will be there.
Okay. May I divert for just a moment? Tomorrow evening is a meeting about the kitchens, the one kitchen. It's a voluntary meeting. I've called together the people from Old Home Association, Fire Department, Rec Department, John Mullen, Cheryl Kimball, and anybody else that wants to talk about how to renovate the kitchens. Okay? It'll be tomorrow night at 6:30. Anybody wants to attend, please do. We can get some ideas before we finalize what it's gonna look like over there. All right? Okay. So I'm good. I recommend we table the chairs.
Table the chairs.
Okay? All right,
Oh, John.
old business,
Not only that, but the chair table chairs.
Yeah.
242 New Durham Road. I guess I wanted to talk with the people to see what their opinions are. I thought they'd be in tonight.
We can just move on to the rest of the agenda until the end of the meeting,
See
if
if
they
they
show
show
up
up.
and talk about it then, and then,
Okay.
if not, then we have to move on.
Yeah. Okay, water analysis.
Yeah.
You got the results?
Yes. Through the good efforts of the board, we sent off 2 water samples, one from this building, one from the old town hall. One from this building came right, no, it came from the faucet, okay? The big thing that we worried about is arsenic. I've been told it's not good for you to have too much arsenic. So, one place across the way at town hall turned out to be fine. This place was just barely fine. I think I'd still use bottled water for here. All right, let's see if I can find it. Lead, arsenic. I
It's in the
don't know which
middle
one.
of the page.
Yeah, I found the arsenic, but I don't know which page, which one is, oh, Old Town Hall. Arsenic level. 0.0070 milligrams per liter. That's very small. The state standard is point, 0.01. So this is 0.007, small, so that's good. Old Town Hall, good. Municipal building, arsenic level, 0.0151. The limit is 0.01, so this is a little bit higher by 51 tens and thousandths milligrams per liter. So I recommend that we still drink bottled water here.
But the town hall,
Town hall.
now all the renovation from the kitchen's done, now when we rent it out, we have documentation, the water's fine to be able to drink, coke with, or whatever, so. And there's some concern about the renovation of the kitchen, because of, we can use the water or not, so, now we know.
Yeah. I just went through this with my house. I don't know if you guys know, but I think the federal level for the arsenic's actually higher, the state one, than the state one. And arsenic comes from granite, so we're the granite state, so.
It's naturally
Yeah,
appearing in the
naturally
water,
occurring
there's
thing
not much you
comes
can
from
do
granite.
about it.
So the federal government says it can be higher, and we're still alive?
It can be
Okay,
higher,
we
it's
can let
okay.
people know.
The state's more stringent because we're a granite state, but.
Right. Well,
So it's not like pollution or nothing, it's just granite.
Yeah.
Somehow the granite.
That
So
one-
So is there a way
Lower
to,
the
but is
radar.
there a way, is there a suggestion as to what you do for like, is there anything you can do to, other than putting in, I think, a water filtration system, right?
buy bottled water.
I'm saying.
Cheaper by the bottled water.
Right. No, I just didn't
But they
know.
do have multiple layers of types of water treatment and filtering systems. It's very expensive to do it.
Well, no, I mean, we have a water
Get a
filtration.
Yeah, and that gets rid of the smell, particularly the sulfur and iron
Yes,
level.
yes,
okay?
yes, because we have a lot of iron in our water.
But I don't know how you get the arsenic out.
When there, I don't know if I'm dreaming this not, wasn't it a few years ago that they said that the granite countertops was producing,
Arsenic kind of low.
Well, they say so.
was that a radon? I don't know, I remember that for some reason, I don't know why, but maybe I would try to think of something.
What if we just put like a little Brita filter on the faucet, would that clear that up, or
They
is that
claim it
not?
takes care of it, so, I don't know.
Well, you could try it and
They have a
just-
better, they have a better one out there that will help, but there was a thing on, the news a few months back that says you won't get rid of that. There's really no way to get rid of it.
My concern is, if it's any type of filter that goes on the end of the faucet, it works good for the first month. And somebody forgets and leaves it there for 3 months.
Used to be,
Then
there
we're
used to
gonna
be a
get
couple
blamed.
in New Durham that sold a beautiful water system. I don't have the paperwork anymore
Yeah.
because when we had problems with Textron, they were trying to get people on board with their water filtering
They were in
situation.
downtown New Durham, I remember that.
Yeah, and I don't know where they are now, and I don't know if they're still selling, probably. I mean, that system was expensive, so I mean, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Any other old business? Okay. New business. Janet Kalar is one, you're gonna be on as well, and there's a couple others. Okay.
I have a complaint, and I don't know how we can resolve it. I've lived up here since 2003, and we've always ended up on the 20% reval before the whole reevaluation comes about. And I've never had a problem with Dan coming to the house and coming through the house and what have you. We have the building permit for the addition we put on. And I don't know who did it this time, but I was not home. We were in Concord, and I was gone the entire day. And somebody showed up because of the building permit, and I understand that. But they scared the daylights out of my tenant, who was only 18 years old, because she's home all day by herself. And my kitchen got destroyed with my dogs in their pen, and one of them must have got their paw caught in her collar because it was popped off, thankfully. And I'm not happy with it. And there's gotta be a better way to let people know that somebody's coming around. I mean, in this day and age, you get an older person or a disabled person, and these guys come around and they don't let you know. And he didn't knock on the door downstairs, I'll tell you that right now. And I wasn't home, and you know, you don't know what's gonna happen. I called Avatar.
Right.
They said, well, you know, we take time to call people when we come. I don't care. Better be safe than sorry, because if it was me, sorry, Bill, I would have gone out with a baseball bat and then called the police. You know, their answer was, well, the car has, you know, it has the signage on it. And that's true. But from downstairs, you can't see that signage. You can see it from upstairs, but you can't see it from downstairs.
I suppose the same can be said for Penachuk.
And the truck doesn't come around.
Sure they do.
They don't come on the property. They have their laser guns.
For reading the meters.
Yes,
But there are times when they come on the property, they come around on my property.
I haven't seen them on my property in ages.
Eversource,
Eversource doesn't either.
um,
The only ones that come on the property are the gas and the oil company.
right. I don't know how to fix that. And calling is certainly acceptable, but the gas people don't call.
Gas and oil, I don't expect them to. But they got, I mean, come on, John, they've got trucks that are quite visible.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm just thinking of the times we're in.
Well, do they pick a certain area they go in and do it? Or they just randomly go driving around, stop, say, I'll stop here and
I don't
drive?
care if they left a message on the answering machine.
It's the spring, so they'll go up and they'll run anybody that's got like an open
Open
permit or a
permit.
new building or whatever.
Right.
And those are considered flagged, or anybody they went to last time in flagged, they'll go back to those. Then they'll start their reval, they'll do sections, but we don't know how that's.
I know I was talking to Gwen today, and she's putting the phone number on the tax card and telling them to call me before they come out again.
Okay. So Gwen has done that much already?
For me,
you?
yeah.
Right.
I mean, the other thing is, and I mean, I was talking to Laura and Gwen today, is that the slider on the front porch, the screen's part of the slider was pushed over to the other side of the door. We don't use that door. We don't use either, of course, the back one doesn't have the stairs to it yet, but the front slider, we don't use it. So who opened it? You know, and I mean, if they did, you know, snap a picture of the inside of that room, because I mean, the curtains are wide open. And like Laura said, and Gwen said too, that they don't necessarily take pictures.
I didn't know they ever took pictures.
They take
I
pictures
have-
of your house from the street, which is what you see on
Right.
the images.
I have always let these guys in, I've never had a problem with that. I just don't like the way it was done this time.
Were they avatar respectful towards you when you called?
She told me to put a no trespassing sign on the front of the property. I'm not gonna put no trespassing signs out there, come on.
Did no trespassing stop them from coming on?
No, because like Laura said, they will come in and knock on the door. But that's supposed to stop them from going around the house, according to it. Michelle with Avatar told me, that that's supposed to stop them from going around.
Anybody heard any other residents?
I was just talking to Kathleen, she said there were quite a few complaints. Now, whether she's gotten them or not, I don't know. She says people have had quite a few complaints about Avatar this time around.
But I don't think it's that they're knocking on the door, it's how they've assessed their house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's a little different.
yeah.
I don't wanna
We don't
see
like
my
the
assessment
numbers.
go up either, but it's gonna go up.
You know, if anybody calls me and says it's suspicious, you know, I already know because they've already stopped here.
Right.
To tell me, so I've
Right.
already know, like, this guy's creeping around my house now.
Chief, any complaints of people calling about suspicious people walking around the property?
No, not, it was mail, people missing mail and stuff, is one of the other here.
Yeah, okay. All right, but
Good thing all the checks I have get direct deposited.
sounds like, at least in your case, the town has done something. One is.
Well, I talked to Gwen today, yeah.
Okay, good.
But I mean, Avatar says that they don't make phone calls. Well, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And even, you know, even if the vehicles are marked, that's not saying they're from Avatar either. You know, I mean, it would be nice to know that these guys are coming out.
Yeah.
Like I said, given what's going on, you know, in places today, I don't wanna become a statistic, and I don't wanna see anybody else in town become a statistic.
I think, at least in your case,
What-
calling would help.
Yeah, when they come around to do the full valuation, put something out on the town's website or something.
That's what I was
Sa-
thinking.
Yeah, saying they're gonna be out here between this date and this date, but I mean, for the other 20%
Or more.
or a few that they come out to check the building permits, they should be notifying us in one form or another.
Now, they stop with you, right? They come down and tell you that they're here?
No.
Aha!
Oh, they tell me every
See?
time. He stops here every time he comes here. So I know he's here.
But then if somebody were to call you and you're busy and tied up, you don't answer the phone.
Well, she'll know too. He literally hangs out here, so we all know he's here. But Dan used to stop at the,
PD.
I love Dan, I mean, you know,
he used to give me his business card and everything. If somebody calls,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
gonna, like,
and that's the other thing, when they used to come, if I wasn't home, Dan would always leave his business card in the door. This is what I got.
he also leaves that too. They've been leaving those
With
for
nothing
years.
on it for who they're even working for.
Just says call the assessor office, right?
Yeah. Call your town office is what it says.
Yeah.
All right. Okay? All right. Highway Department starts the 4-day work week. Actually, it's 4 10-hour day work weeks. Okay? And yes, the Highway Department is on call at a rather reduced rate, I think, in terms of how they set theirs up versus what other people do, because they're on the whole, at the end of the day till the next day, they're on.
They're going through their summer, so it's only one person a week. While in the winter, it's 4 guys a week.
Right. But their time of being on call is when their work ends
Till they're
till the
bored.
next day. When police are on call, it's only a few hours, is that correct?
Well, it's from when the second shift guy goes off duty, so when the day shift guy comes in, so it's anywhere from midnight until 6 or 7 in the morning.
Right.
It's usually 2 to 6 is the regular schedule.
Right. And Laura, when you're on ambulance, it varies based on what you agree to sit for. Okay. All right. Homeland Security paperwork for the storm.
Yeah, I filled it out to the best that do you want me to send it to the guy, or do you want me to scan it and give it to you to send to the guy?
Let's get together
Let's
tomorrow
try.
and get this out. Okay. So you know what we're talking about. Homeland Security called me as the selectman and said, I need some estimates about what it costs to remove the snow on the election day snowstorm. 27 and 30-inch storm. Okay? They do a preliminary assessment of things like overtime, mileage, amount of sand and salt used. Were there any shelters open? No. If so, how many people manned the shelter? Are there any warming huts set up? Like this room here? No. Based on all that, they will decide, Homeland Security will decide whether to go to FEMA for monies. Right? I talked briefly with Rick about it, and he said, well, we plowed a lot, but not much other than that. There was no power outages, there was no shelters. They worked a lot, there's some overtime, but I don't think there's gonna be enough to amount to much.
It's only $2,000 less than the storm that we did get FEMA funds.
Oh,
So I don't
so
know.
maybe we will, all right.
From his calculations on the last spreadsheet, that's all I had in
Okay.
mind.
So
So
let me
we'll see.
crank it in tomorrow with your help and we'll,
Send it on.
yeah, okay. All right.
Rick's
This is
just
what
too
it is.
efficient, that's all.
Speaking of Rick, we had a meeting with Stratford Regional Planning Commission, which we pay our dues to every year. And they came by to talk with us. The director is retiring and she's making a visit to every one of the 18 towns to see if there's anything she can help with. And there's 2 ongoing projects that Ed Brennan, who sat in, Rick has also talked about it, that we could get some help on. One is condition of the roads. I'm the first to admit that Rick probably does not need to be told the condition of his roads. He probably knows them better than anybody else, but these people have been trained to look at the cracks and bumps in the road and decide whether it's getting worse, whether it's terrible, okay, and then they report all that to the town. The second one is, they check culverts that go under the road to determine if the culvert is collapsed, to determine if the culvert is big enough. There's certainly some concern about if you make a 12-inch culvert that's rusted and breaking apart, if you make it into a 16-inch culvert, that sounds great, except what does that do downstream? Because now it allows more water to go faster downstream. So they're involved with both of that. I can only imagine those young college kids crawling into ditches and culverts to check the size of these things, with the snakes that are in there. Interesting job. All right. Anything else?
Not really.
No, well, I talked to one gal who said, I didn't know there were water moccasins in New Hampshire. I didn't have the heart to tell her, I don't think there are water moccasins in New Hampshire. I think what she saw was a black snake, which
It's just sad to me.
looked very ugly. All right, anything else? Okay, Chief, you're on,
Okay.
please.
I had a couple things, obviously, I don't know if most of you know, but we've hired Steve Hyde back.
You have?
We have, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He's part-time again, yeah. he's
What
gonna-
days does he don't work?
We're not quite sure yet, we're gonna figure out the schedule,
Really?
but.
You gotta get a break on going to his office then. Come to my house.
So I didn't know if you guys, I know we had talked about it before, I just wanted to make sure it was in a meeting on record, as far as the approval of hiring him. I know we talked about it before. I just didn't remember if we ever had an official vote or anything, if we should do do that if you guys are good with it, so.
I would entertain a motion to hire Steve Hyde as a part-time officer effective
Yesterday.
Saturday? Is that what we
We
did?
went with March 30th, which is
March
Friday.
30th. Okay,
Okay, so moved.
yes, second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Good.
I don't think we have to vote on that, honestly,
No,
because
that's what
you
I'm-
hire and fire,
Right.
whatever, your employees, whatever, it's just letting us know that you're doing it, so.
Laura, I showed you the form that we found, is that sufficient, or do you need?
I'll have him fill out the other one, but
Okay.
I'll just attach them, yeah.
The second issue I wanted to talk about was our next cruiser purchase. We had discussed it before, out of the detail account. It'd be another one of the Ford Interceptor utilities, be coming from the same place, Hillsborough Ford.
Mhm.
And one, we just want to get a record approval to purchase the vehicle. And then two, I wanted to discuss trading in car 5, which we had discussed at the budget meeting about getting rid of car 5. We can auction it, but I mean, you know how auctions, it could go for 2,000, it could go for 3. I don't imagine they're going for a lot higher than that, but Hillsborough Ford's willing to trade it in towards the purchase of the car and give us $2,200 trade. So it's a guaranteed $2,200, plus they help with removing the lights and all that stuff, and then taking just the car itself without the sirens and everything. So if we didn't do that, we'd have to hire somebody to take all the lights off, sirens off, you know, make it trade-in worthy, and then we'd risk that somebody might bid $500. So my recommendation would be to trade it in for the $2,200 towards the new car, if you approve the purchase of the new car, which we discussed previous, so.
All right. I would entertain a motion that we accept the purchase of the new 2018.
Be a 2018 Ford Interceptor utility from the detail account.
Okay,
Yeah, move motion, so moved.
we got a second. And we'll vote on this, but I'd like a brief rundown on what cars are left, how old they are, and so forth. But, and, am I in favor? Aye,
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
So,
So tell us what car 5 is and what's left. Does that mean this, when this is done, we'll have 4 or we'll have 5?
we will have 5 cars total, not counting the animal control officer car. It's kind of like a separate entity. But car 5 currently is a 2013 Ford Taurus. It's the car that you see with the stripes on it. It's got 138,500 miles on it, and it's been giving us a lot of problems lately. We've been doing a lot of Band-Aid fixes, if you will, to try to just get it to keep going. But I feel like it's gonna start having problems. So that car would be traded in and replaced with the new utility. So we'd have 2 nice new utilities, the one that's a little older with 81,000 miles on it, and then we have the 2 Chargers. My Charger has 11,000 miles, and the white Charger has 43,000 miles.
All right, so just help me get all this straight.
Yep.
The animal control car, which is used just by us, there was talk of making a deal with community, surrounding communities, that's,
Yeah,
No
when
longer.
we did the town budget,
right.
we went with just the
Okay.
previous year, so we didn't
So
have the extra money to do it. So
what
it
year
would
is
be
that
just- That's a 2009 Ford, that's got 140,000 miles on it.
But that's been cleaned off, there's no police signage on it, and I guess we'd take a crate in the back for animals.
Well, it's already got a cage in the back, so
Okay.
it would pretty much just be outfitted with stuff that I purchased from last year's budget. So we put the nets and the gloves and all that stuff in there. And it would just be used for the ACO, and since we don't have a significant amount of animal control calls, even though it's got 140,000 miles, I think we'll be able to get some more use out of it.
I think that if that was the one that, the one that's, we just dumped a lot of money into that,
We did, that's where we're gonna keep it in service a little longer, fix the whole front end and everything on it, so. It seems to run good, it starts a little rough, but once it's running, it runs pretty good.
For those of us who've been here, well, that was one Tim Brown drove a lot.
Correct.
Okay. The next one is the 2013 Taurus,
That's the one we're looking to get rid of. yeah.
135,000 miles. but
138.
please 138. Please remember, that doesn't count idling, doesn't count detail work, so the engine has a lot more time than just
Yeah.
138.
Probably about 300,000 hours on it,
Okay.
I think,
So that's a 2013 is gone.
We'd like to trade that in towards it,
All
yeah.
right, what's the next one? It's gonna be the white Charger?
Wait, you mean next one as in mileage or?
Yeah, well, the next one in terms of age.
That'd be the 2014.
Oh.
It's the
SUV.
the SUV one that we have that Officer McNeil's using currently.
Okay, how many
It's got
thousand?
81,000 miles on it, and as of right now, I'm not going with it. It runs really good and looks nice, so.
And after that is the
Weight charges.
That'd be the
16,
2014, the
14?
weight charger, that was Randy Sobel's K9 car that we converted to a patrol car.
How many thousand?
43.5.
Okay, so that's still in good shape. Then there must be either a 15 or a 16 black Charger.
No, mine's a 17,
17.
and that's got 11,900 miles on it.
What you missing, right, John?
What's
Is there
that?
5 there?
Yeah.
No, I'm only up to 3.
We also have,
You're up to 4.
we have the 2018 Ford Interceptor, that's the new one, if you guys haven't seen it, it's black and white. And it's a 2000, it's only got, as of the other day, 690 miles on it.
Then there's another one that we just approved. That's also a 2018.
That would also be a 2018, so we'd have the 2 black and whites, the 2 Chargers. And our thought would be, the older one we would use mostly for details and stuff, and,
The older SUV.
yeah, the older SUV. We usually tend to use the oldest car, try to get use out of it for details and stuff when we can.
So that should be 6.
If you include the
Animal control, I just wanna make sure I got it
Yes,
right.
yes, that's what I was.
Cause he had 5, and he goes 2 here and 2 here, I'm like, where did you get 5? Okay, I got it.
So,
So
The new
is,
one.
is Hillsborough Ford, is that like the normal, is that the typical?
They have the state contract, the bid, like my Charger, it's the Chargers with the all-wheel drive and the V8 engine are like $45,000, and we pay.
For us to buy off the
Yeah,
street.
if you try to go down to Dodge and buy it, but they sell it under the state bid for like $24,000.
No, I just assumed that they were probably the dealer that did
The bids, yeah, that's why we looked at them, they just do all the state bids for the state.
and how do you get the Dodge Charger out of a Hillsborough Ford dealership? I know the answer.
They also have Dodge, Jeep, and Ram.
well, I was
Well,
gonna say they're probably in what, the Ford Dodge Jeep?
Yeah, they're
Well,
right across the street.
Two
from each
separate
other.
buildings,
Yeah,
but one guy owns them both.
Kind of
Right.
like Poulin used to be, Poulin
Yes.
Chrysler and
Yeah.
Poulin Chevy.
And let's not talk about the white Charger. Certain individuals, one of whom is sitting in this room, went to Florida to get it. That would be you. That was a Randy
I get
Sobel.
the first miles on it.
What did we pay for that, like 20,000 or something?
22.
Yeah,
No, up to 23.
Detail money, but it was a good deal
yeah,
if someone was willing to go to Florida to get it.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, Randy was down on vacation. His son Aiden was down there on vacation, just before he bought a house down there, okay? And he calls up, got a good deal on a car down here, they got like 18 left, and kind of get rid of them. So, over the phone, we authorized the purchase with the money's in detail account, so we sent down the money, paid for it. Well, Aiden can't drive because he's not a town employee, and Randy can't drive it all himself. It'd take him a week and a half to get here by driving so many hours and staying overnight and paying for hotels and all that stuff. Well, for a $300 plane ticket one way, I flew down, town employee, and drove her back. We're going through, funny, so we're going through New York. You get that spotlight on the side, so everybody thinks it's an unmarked car.
All right.
It's got Florida tags on the back of it, right? Like 10 days, like it says Florida on it, right? But nobody's looking at that. It's like cop cars unmarked. Big old Cadillac. Some people in like that, and their head was on a swivel. We're in traffic, maybe behind, I move over behind them. They're looking over the back, like that, looking over the window. They go up ahead of me like that. It was playing games. They thought we were probably unmarked cops coming after us or something. They got about a mile down the road, they pulled off in the median. The car was sitting there, they were gone. I don't know what it went to. We had traffic, 3 lanes of traffic both ways. I think they must have hot footed out of there with whatever they were holding, but it was just funny how people act, they see you coming. It's like, you can sit there and be in the center lane of 3 lanes, and you got cars stacked behind you, so it's like NASCAR, basically,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
You pull off, you get gas like that, and then boom, they're going. Let's just go. I'll be black with these guys, you know?
Alright, so the first of the 2 2018 SUVs is here, it's on patrol, it's working, it's
It's
all
here and
fixed.
being utilized, correct?
The other one that we just appropriated is a few months down the road.
Well, we actually went ahead, we put in an order for it, because when we
Right.
ordered the other one, they told us that this year it was gonna be 4 to 6 months waiting period. So as I discussed with the selectmen previous, and stuff, we wouldn't do anything until after the budget was approved, and then, but when they said 4 to 6 months, we put an order in, and the guy said, it's very clearly written that unless it's not approved by the town or something, so you can back out if it
Right.
shows up and you don't, the town said no. You know, which you don't wanna do on a regular basis, but we also didn't wanna have to wait 4 to 6 months again for the car, so we went ahead and put the order in, so we'd at least have that spot reserved, so it should be here within a couple weeks, hopefully, rather than a couple months.
How much for just the car, roughly?
Well, the car without the trade is $30,499.
So that brings it down to about 28.
Yeah, 28.3 with the trade,
And then you gotta put all the lights on, which is probably 10,000.
about 12.
Okay. When all that's done, then all of that comes out of the detail fund.
Correct.
All the lights, sirens, all that stuff, radios. How much is left in detail?
I'm not prepared to answer. We're pretty close to using it up once we.
Yeah, you
Okay.
got about
outfit it.
45,000 in there right now.
Yeah,
That'll be about 35 total,
Okay.
roughly.
yeah, so
But
we're getting close to it.
The point is, all of this is being taken care of by the
Every
detail.
penny so far has been out of the detail account, which, without, Laura probably know better, but I think we ended up making like $120,000 over the summer working all those details. and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, raise your hand if you saw details this summer. Route 153, going down past your house. Whatever.
And just for
Hey, they were
the, and just for the
parked
record, and for the record, I want people, the last 5 vehicles purchased through the police department has all been with detail money, no taxpayer input, so, this is pretty good.
Yeah, we have a very nice fleet once this car arrives for a
Yeah.
small agency.
Are they done with most of the detail for that?
I think so. They
That
gotta come
project?
back and switch poles around and stuff, but yeah, like the actual power company's done and gone, so you know.
But now, is there going to be, this is kind of a sidetrack, is there a head, about the moving the rest of the wires from the existing poles to the new
Yeah,
poles?
I think they are. I mean, I assume they are.
Well, yeah, but I didn't think that was slated to be done anytime soon.
Oh.
But I would assume that would all entail more that would have to, I'm guessing that would.
Yeah, it just won't be quite the project that this last one was. The power was a huge project.
Right.
The other ones will probably keep us relatively busy, but it won't be
I'm
like
just
anything
thinking like
major.
there are 2 poles, at least one pole out in front of my house, because I get to the end of my driveway, I'm kind of like,
You don't hit it.
I'm not gonna hit it, somebody might hit me, because you gotta pull out there pretty fast, or, you know.
All right, Chief, you're gonna have the final answer, but I'll take a survey. What's the most number of cruises, detail work, anybody saw on 153 this summer? Most number.
What, you mean
At one
different
time.
spots at
Yeah,
the same
One
time?
different spots, but on one drive-through on any section of 153.
I'd say 10.
I'd say 14.
You probably know.
Well, I know we had up to 8 a day, but then Milton and Farmington also had, so it could have very easily been 14, 15 locations a day.
Those 2 vehicles per spot, so.
lot
Right,
of
so
them
they
are.
were at the beginning, they were up here, they
Yeah.
were at the corner, and there was at least 2 or 3 on 153.
Yeah. You said they were in your yard? The
Well,
driveway?
the trucks would come in, yeah,
Right.
the trucks would come in and
Right.
when they were getting ready one morning or whatever. I'm like, hey,
All right,
Coffee's on.
thank you, Chief, that sets us up, and I think we're good for a while. I don't think you're gonna have another summer right away like last summer in terms of detail work.
I don't anticipate it anytime soon,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
we had to take advantage of it when
Yeah.
we could.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you for the efforts. Okay. All right. Anything else?
We had a pretty good meeting this afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
AT&T.
Yeah.
It is decidedly definite that the tower is going up, most likely this summer as soon as the weather clears. Seeing as how the contract is already in place between Middleton and Blue Sky, and AT&T has a good working relationship with Blue Sky. And I'm told via email that as soon as the snow is off the ground, they want to reconnoiter the spot and start marking it out.
Well, snow's pretty much off the ground now, so come on over.
it looks like, before the end of the summer, we will have a tower. Once again, AT&T is on a 5-year timeline with the federal government to implement fully the FirstNet program. And they're already 1 year into it, so they really have an awful lot to get done with putting up 48 towers in the state of New Hampshire alone. And with us already having land and approval and everything else, we are way ahead of all the other towns. We don't have to negotiate for land, we don't have to deal through attorneys to get a contract, and all that has already been done. And, they're
So-
very, very eager to put
So
it up.
the tower goes up like this summer, Joanne, what does that mean as far as the service on it? Will the service will,
The service will be an AT&T transmitter, or whatever, it'll be their equipment on the
Right.
tower, they will have the highest. They're also,
The highest location.
highest location, they're also increasing the output for not only this tower, but all of their towers, they're increasing the capacity, the load capacity, so that,
Stronger signal.
right, but I mean, so the tower will go up, will the service go on and it's immediately, I guess, or quickly thereafter? That's what I'm wondering. It will.
yeah, it
So
will be
as soon as-
AT&T.
Right, no, and I
Unless-
guess, right.
And how long will it take once the tower is built before we get
Is there a
service?
waiting time
No.
or you don't?
I would
They almost, once the power like that, and they have the apparatus on it, it's immediate.
Okay,
They
I
just
just
gotta turn
wasn't
it
sure
on,
if there was some,
okay?
you know, like, oh, you gotta get the tower up and then it's.
Well, you
Not
gotta
to
get power out
misunderstand.
to it.
Blue Sky will own the tower, AT&T, because they're working with Blue Sky, has first dibs on the highest point. Now, because of the competitive edge AT&T now has in this area, you're gonna find that probably Sprint, T-Mobile, Verizon, all those other guys now wanna put their stuff on the antenna as well, which will help, okay?
Yeah.
So if you have Verizon now, yes, AT&T will be the first one up there, but eventually you will probably see a Verizon
Right.
Service on it as well.
I just didn't know how
You
soon
guys
the
talked to
service
any
would
other
start with the tower.
And what happens is
We
we
don't
get money for every one of those
negotiate
guys that
with the
jump
other
onto it.
companies,
Goes
it
towards
would be Blue
Blue
Sky
Sky.
would approach them, however, we have sent that 40
Once
plus
it's in
page.
place, they put the power antenna,
Joanne?
antenna switch.
all-
Joanne, or,
Yes.
we got a conversation
Sorry.
here first, please. Go ahead.
No, I just reiterating what you just said.
Yeah, I was
It's-
just curious if if the service started once the tower went, you know, if that was quick, or they had to get the tower up and then it was more.
Once the tower's up, the equipment will be on it, the transmission will be available immediately. However, it will be AT&T. If you have another provider, there are two possibilities, well, three actually. You can wait for another provider to put their equipment up. You can change the SIM card in your device to an AT&T one so that you can use AT&T service, switch your service. Or, I don't know if there, I don't know how roaming works, whether that would be a possibility or not, but
I got landlines in this now. So, just,
so.
It certainly would be nice to use my Verizon cell phone. I actually have a cell phone,
yeah.
here in this building.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it?
Mine works.
Mine works too,
Mine's AT&T, it works already.
just saying. You need to up.
I get one bar.
One of the nice things about switching from another service
That might,
to
that
AT&T.
might be it, John, I'm just.
I don't have a problem, you might.
Over that meeting, the guy had a brand new flip phone, John's drooling.
That's a new flip phone.
One of the nice things about being able to have a choice between providers is that right now I have Verizon. I can go to Verizon and say, look, AT&T has a tower up. How badly do you want my business? What can you do for me? Or go to AT&T, say, I want to switch, and they'll offer me a really decent package to switch. So
They will.
there's some bargaining power there.
Right, no, that's true.
Well, for a long time, happened and talked about like that, so finally it's coming around, so.
Yep, that's good.
So please don't be
Was
shy.
there a ribbon cutting party for that?
Could be.
Well, don't forget,
Don't be
we've mentioned in
shy.
previous meetings as well, is that we have a contract already in place. So those guys should be going down here pretty quick and start getting that land crap like that, which is all part of the deal to get that tower in there, so. We'll get them working the backside and work towards the front, so you have a road in. So
And don't
then
be
pull them
shy
up.
about calling and talking to Roger Maines about this, because he has been the one who has worked on it for years.
Yeah, so have you.
Minor.
Yes, you have,
I've been doing just a little bit of
right
paperwork.
there.
Yeah, do that, like that.
She's a glib talker.
All right. Anything else that I have not covered? Any public participation on any topics? Yes, sir.
So I'm your local executive counsel, Joe Kenny, and I've really enjoyed this meeting. Really,
It's
it's been
a little bit different.
a lot of camaraderie and a lot of good exchange. So my district runs from Milton to Pittsburgh to Claremont, so I've got 108 towns and 4 cities and 23 unincorporated areas. So I'm always on the road and I'm always cutting through, particularly to Concord on those days I have to be over there. So we really have 3 functions. We vote on all state contracts for the most part. We vote on state boards and commissions and judicial appointments. This coming Friday, we'll have public hearings in Concord on a new, it's called the Natural and Cultural Resources Commissioner. Sarah Stewart out of Manchester has been nominated, so we'll go through the public hearing process. And that department really deals with forest lands and state parks and kind of the cultural aspect of state government. And then we have an associate justice, Patrick Donovan, that's going to be a part of a public hearing to see if he'll get placed on the state Supreme Court. So those are 2 key positions that will be interviewing this week. The council, we basically have been focusing on a lot of contracts with the opioid crisis, and for treatment, recovery, and enforcement. We'll continue to do that as we get more federal dollars to help out those efforts. And we've noticed in the nonprofit sector that a lot of people got funding the first year, having a tough time the second year. So you gotta figure out how we're gonna do that, the sustainability part of it. DOT, I'm gonna have the commissioner on the road here in a couple of weeks to come into the district and visit various sites. The legislature's in a crossover period, so they're basically, they have the 10-year highway plan. I think the Senate has it now. So it's a 10-year highway improvement plan, so there's a lot of stuff in it. My district alone will be about 500 miles of resurfacing of roads. So you're gonna see a lot of, contracts given out here in the next couple of months to resurface a lot of the roads in this district. You mentioned FirstNet. I was a thorn in the governor's side because I really believe that Bravada did not have the wherewithal, although they had some clever ideas. I was really pushing for AT&T to opt in for that, so ultimately the governor at the last hour opted in. And you're right about the towers. One of the reasons why I was really pushing that was behind the scenes AT&T was promising me a lot more towers in networking in this part of the state, particularly in central northern New Hampshire. Hopefully that will open up more broadband after the pre-exemption for law enforcement for that interoperability. There's an opportunity for some commercial activity as well. So starting next meeting, we're going to get a quarterly report from John Stevens, who's kind of leading the effort for the state from the public safety standpoint to figure out where AT&T is with FirstNet and with the state of New Hampshire as they try to deliver this service in the next 5 years. So kind of a critical piece. Also deal with all the commissioners in state government. So if you ever get a hookup or a hang up or something with any agency, give me a call. I'll leave you all my cards so that if you're talking with DES commissioner on some topic, it's a permit issue or it's a DOT issue or it's economic development, let us know. And so there's one particular grant out there that I want to let you know because you mentioned a little bit about water quality, is the Water Drinking Trust Fund, which is a settlement from the Exxon settlement of about $376 million. 4 communities just got grant money, but ultimately probably return into its own revolving loan fund. Those communities were Colebrook, Northumberland, Bethlehem, and Whitefield got a $4.3 million grant. So, if that's something that you're considering here locally, I know Middleton does rely a lot on state government. That's the way I like it. But you got to know I'm around, and if you ever need to kick me you know, in the heels or something, I'm not too far from here, so, you know, I'd be glad to help out, so. So with that, I'll leave you a few of my cards.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Please.
One
Thank you.
that,
Hey, John.
I was a little reluctant to ask John Stevens or the AT&T people about. When I went to some of the sales offices and mentioned to my provider, Verizon, that they might be losing some customers, and were they considering putting their equipment on with FirstNet towers? And they said, well, they weren't too worried about it because what Verizon does is put generators on their tower facilities. And they said that as soon as people found out that AT&T did not put generators or did not have the power and their towers weren't working, that people would come back to Verizon. And yet AT&T is promising with this FirstNet 99% functionality, so
I think they're promising 99%
coverage.
coverage. It's
But
actually
they're talking about
97%.
24/7, always having availability for FirstNet to get through with their calls.
I'm not an expert, I know enough to be dangerous, but I would say
That's my
that
line.
they, they have the responsibility of building out a network. They have relationships with other telecommunications companies, however they create those arrangements. But the foremost priority is for first responders and interoperability system to meet the federal requirements. Without that, AT&T, you know, is going to be hot water. So that's why I think the quarterly reports, and if I can, if they're really constructive and I can, you know, put them in a, you know, kind of a white paper form or some updated form, then I would send it out to town halls. Do you get my newsletter?
I might,
Okay.
you might.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's something, and I put my schedule in there as well, but sometimes I'll
Yes, I
put
did say
something
that,
that's
yeah.
relevant in there, so it's always good, you know, that's a good topic that I need to get out there. Because again, I was very persistent on that topic, and AT&T have good working relationships with them. And so, but like I said to them, I said, okay, I supported you, but remember, I'll turn against you if you're not delivering the services that you promised, and I'll be very public about it. So we're gonna have to, you know, get together with the state, safety, AT&T, FirstNet, to figure out what we're doing, because it's a very important project. There's a lot of money. AT&T is, I think, is putting $40 billion of their own money, along with the 6 or 7 that they're getting through FirstNet. So they're committed, but are they committed in Texas, California, or are they committed in New Hampshire? So we'll find that out, so.
Speaking about being very public about it, I'll give you my card, which doesn't exactly say it, but I write for the Granite State newspaper out of Wolfboro, which
Oh,
is,
great.
say, a small weekly newspaper, but
Oh,
it does
yeah.
have a Middleton News column.
Absolutely. I just saw Bill, was it Mr. Beeler, Tom Beeler, the other night? Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, again, anything I can do for
Except,
Middleton, you know, I'm glad to
Tom's
help
no
out.
longer at Granite.
He's a
He's at, moved to one
freelancer.
of the, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions,
Sure.
please. Roughly, how many times a week do you have to explain to someone the difference between executive council and state senate? About every week?
Well, yeah, because when school kids come in and I say,
Right.
what's an executive counselor, and then the blank looks hit, and then, or yet, better yet, I'm talking to them for 3 minutes, and Virginia Drew, who's a gift shop, you know, director, leads the kids to these tours, you know, explains who I am and what I do, and then I said to the kids, who I'm right in front of with their parents and staff, say, well, who is your executive counselor, kids? And of course, they'll have that blank look again. I said, you're looking at them. I just opened up and said, I was your executive counselor. But then I'll turn around and say, well, who's the governor of New Hampshire? And they'll say, Chris, and you know. And then they'll turn around and say, there's the governor. Okay, get in line, we're gonna go meet up and meet the governor. No, it's, I'm also a civics teacher in that regard, because if I don't explain it, particularly because New Hampshire's very transient, a lot of new people move in, they didn't get the 5th grade tour or the 4th grade tour. So I have to explain exactly. But ironically enough, outsiders that were in the presidential primary knew more about the council. And because when I said to Chris Christie, I'm one of those counselors, he said, oh, I've heard about you guys. I've heard about you guys. So it's, there's only two other states, Massachusetts, you know, and their power was pretty much cut away from them many years ago. They mostly just do judicial appointments. In Minnesota has a form of executive council. So as we always like to say, we're the oldest and we're the most powerful. I don't know if that gets us anywhere, but it's really a check to the governor and the executive branch. So we collaborate on a lot of different topics. Some that are very critical that come in, you know, an emergency that we have to deal with. You know, like the Hope for Recovery, you know, Serenity House in Manchester. Those are critical things that we had to kind of huddle on and try to see if we could get some transition money to help, you know, those services. So, but every once in a while something pops up, you know, with the Attorney General's office that we have to address. It's a very interesting job.
Yes.
You're seeing the state government from the strategic side of things and looking down and seeing every, the inner workings of all the agencies. So, and I poke around. So,
Is Milton your southernmost town?
I was just at the Milton Selectmen's meeting tonight, just giving an update.
Keeping it to yourself, I'm sure. Do you ever wonder who in the world ever gave a district from Milton to Pittsburgh?
It's based off of population.
Right,
So
it's not a lot of, it's not like Manchester or Nashville, but
you're right. It's
Geez.
3.5 hours.
you spend a lot of time on 16 going up and down.
I do,
Yeah,
and going across on dirt
thank you.
roads.
Yeah, there's a big territory to cover.
The great thing that I say is that when I hit the ground running, I said I wouldn't stop running, and I would do it Monday through Friday full time. Particularly the first couple of years, I put, I think, about 120,000 miles on, because I had to get to know the communities, the cities, the leadership, their issues, so that it becomes easier to
Right.
understand when I walk into the community who the personalities are, what the issues are, what the resources are to help out that community.
You must have 30 or 40 towns,
108
108 towns in your
in 4
district.
cities.
Jeez.
So
Yeah, but just look at your state rep until, what, 2 or 3 years ago?
Right,
This district had consisted of 6 towns.
right now,
2,
that was 2,
cut it from 6 to 2.
yeah, for state rep, yeah.
So Claremont's a good example. It took me, you know, a couple of years to get to know the people, the
Yeah.
issues. So I go in there now, I feel like it's a second home.
All right,
So
yeah.
takes a while. It's a lot. I enjoy it though, and I enjoy serving the district. So let me know if there's anything I can do
Yep.
for Middleton. And when can I get an airplane so I can park it over that runway? So someday
Let's
I
not
can use a
even
plane.
discuss
Why
that.
don't you build the house first? That way you have some money to
One
finish
thing that would
stuff.
help, yeah, build a house over there.
Who else right there?
Well, a week ago, I got a constituent who is a newly American citizen from the Lakes Region Realtor. Very, very excited to reconnect. I'd helped her out. And she said, "Counselor, we need to talk. I want to help you. I want to drive you around your district." Because people know me. They want to put me up overnight up in North Country. They know I drive a lot. And she said the magic word, I've been very successful in real estate, and I bought a plane.
Yeah.
And I park it in Laconia. I said, now we can talk. So that'll be interesting. But I do every couple of years, I do an airplane tour of the municipal airports. So I'll fly in. I usually start in Laconia. I'll fly over to Lebanon, Newport, Claremont, and then go over. In some cases,
The
I've gone
runway
to
is
Plymouth.
operational here.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It
You
is
can land.
operational?
You can land and take off.
Yeah.
You can?
Just
Yeah.
be careful those trees come in.
The FAA is okay? Okay.
Council, we appreciate you coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for finding Middleton. Having served on Stratford Regional Planning Commission, which is primarily Stratford County, a little bit of Carroll County.
Yeah.
There are people down around Durham, Madbury, have no idea where Middleton is.
No, they don't.
So, thank you for finding us.
Yeah, but did we vote for him?
Did we? Sure.
Yeah, we did, we voted for him.
Well,
Yes, we did.
I kind of grew up in this area, but so Middleton's, you know, has always been a part of me.
Yeah.
But we did go to the school dedication as well. That was
Yeah.
a wonderful day, and it's a, you know, it's a
Thank
great
you.
asset to the
Yeah.
town. And I do know some of the old timers in the area, part of the VFW and stuff. So
Yeah.
Will you be coming back for the grand opening when we have the formal dedication for our newly renovated,
Old town.
not renovated, but restored town hall?
you give me a date, I'll be there.
Your card, I'll make sure you get one.
House Rep Mullins will.
So when you go for the election,
I can make a
Oh,
copy
the
of this
fall.
one if that's easier.
this year?
Make a copy of your card.
Every 2 years.
Yeah,
I
good.
think,
You're up.
I'll use
Okay.
yours and just make.
Okay.
for her.
yeah, I'd love to go to that. You know, I enjoy cutting ribbons and smiling.
Yeah.
But to me, it's the best part of the job, is that means that there was a groundbreaking, there was a lot of planning, funding,
Right.
and organizing and effort, and then really, the ribbon cutting is really the completion of all that effort, so that's always a great time.
Well, hopefully, you know, you can do one for the highway garage, huh, John?
Yes.
Absolutely, you know, and, you know, things like, you know, the dam bureau,
Okay,
if it's a state dam, you know, if it's some state bridge or something, or some hiccup, but
okay.
I know Brookfield is getting a dam repair where the state's coming in to repair their dam. I know, you know, Village of Union, they're trying to do some work down there. But there's other grants, like the TAP grant is very popular. It's called the Transportation Alternative Program, where you can do little sidewalks and landscaping, and
Yeah.
if you ever get to that point.
Stratford Regional gets involved in that.
Yeah.
Right.
Are
Exactly.
there any grants out there to pay for like, the new analysis that have to be done on dams? Like, we're going through that now. DES ordered us to put in, to do new analysis for our, emergency
For-
plans.
If the dam were breached.
If the
Yeah.
dam ever breached, are there any grants out there for that? I mean, we've just paid for it, but I mean,
Well, I can look. I know there's something that's very popular called the Northern Border Commission, and they have a grant process that's ongoing right now. But it's for 4 counties, and you just missed it by 1 town because you're in Stratford. But it's for Carroll, Coos, Grafton, and Sullivan. So that one would have been ideally a good match. But again, you know, if you reach out to me, I can reach out to DES and look for. I've always been able to find money somewhere in the bowels of
I will
state
tell you,
government.
they're not very helpful with information.
Well, there's a, like with safety, there's a long-time grant person,
Yeah.
or it's called Pam Mooring. But you
Yeah.
gotta find that kind of Pam Mooring in those agencies, so you
Yeah.
can find it where the money is, so. But I'll be glad to go on a, what is it, Easter egg hunt to
Yeah.
go
Right.
find some of that money?
A water safari.
No, water safari, exactly.
Uh,
Exactly.
Sir, we're about done. You're welcome to stay, but I also understand if you'd like to get on the road and put an end to your long day.
I'm probably gonna, I think I've made 6 stops today, so I'm gonna call it a day. But I don't live too far from you, so that's good. But that's great, and,
Borough or
what's that?
north or south?
No,
Oh,
no.
I live in Union,
Do you really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
I cut through here all the time.
Well, I mean, when your wife is out here campaigning for you, like the signs like that, it's pretty gold. And then, you know, so,
Well, that's sometimes people see me, or, you know, meet me for the first time, I said, Joe Kenny actually does exist. You know, he's just not on a sign somewhere, so, but my job is to try to get around to as many people as I
well, you
can.
showed up that night.
Yeah, it's
You,
important.
you do not have to answer this question, so I'm somewhat biased. What's the best spot in Union? What's the best building in Union?
The best building that you wanna,
Oh,
God, how, I have to say
do
something about that.
you wanna buy that pink house?
Oh, no, no.
Oh, okay. It's for sale. Of course, the heating bill's $30,000 a year, but it's for sale. So the best building in Union.
Across from the church is the Hotchkiss Commons.
Well, we know that. So I was going to mention that, but I said, well, maybe I shouldn't mention it.
That's right.
But I go to the bean suppers, so,
Yes.
and that's always a lot of fun. In fact, I met one of my high school teachers there.
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez, that's pretty good.
I looked scared.
Yeah.
Thank God I did okay in class. Jeez. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. You know, that's a great building. You've done a great job there.
Yeah,
And you've helped out a lot of people who couldn't help themselves in that building too.
Yeah.
Much like the Great Awake for Resource
Yes.
Center, which I
Yeah.
helped out many years ago
Yeah.
on. But community development block grant money through CDFA is always available for
Yeah.
public facility grants as well.
Yeah.
So it's a good program.
good.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Nice to see
Yep,
you.
bye-bye.
All right, so you had something you wanted to say about something?
No, I was coming by there tonight.
Oh, you
There's
saw
a
the
full
sign?
house down there tonight.
Oh,
Who's band name, right?
Yes.
yeah. Francine
Over
Randy.
down there?
They're in the overflow parking.
Oh, yeah. You know what we're talking about?
I have no clue what it
Okay. You know where Hutchins Commons
is. I do,
is?
yeah.
Okay. on Route 153, not too far from your house, John and
Right next door to my
Francine
house,
Raincourt, or Raincourt,
Green Court,
used to have jam sessions.
yeah.
A few musicians would come and they'd take turns playing a song, and you might have 2 or 3 spectators, but they outgrew their living room.
Yeah. So now they.
They're now down at Hotchkiss Commons on Monday nights. And they have about 20 musicians and 20 or 25 spectators.
Yeah.
And that place is one hopping place.
On Monday
You
morning.
can get gospel music, you can get country, you can get rock and roll. We have a lot of guitars down there. Is that a bass violin? Someone else has got a saxophone. What's the thing where you sit on your lap and play it here? What's that called? It looks like a guitar, but it's flat.
Steel
I don't know.
Some people call
Steel
it a
guitar?
Hawaiian guitar.
It's a steel guitar.
Steel
Yeah,
guitar.
Yeah,
but they're all going at it.
yeah.
That's hard to play.
Some can sing and some can't, but
But they
they
try.
all give it a try. Yeah,
There was full house
Yeah.
tonight when I heard that.
thank you. All right, anything else for the good of us?
I make a motion that we go into non-public at, this,
So,
7:46.
good. I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you for coming.
Appreciate it.
Next time.
So Wednesday night,